So welcome everyone. We are in the next session with Ashleigh, and she's actually used to be a doctor that transformed into career coach for professionals. And she's gonna speak about discovering your authentic power through your career. So it's super interesting, and I would love to hear from her about the journey. So I'm just gonna give it to her to do. So sorry, I muted you. So just unmute yourself.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, it's maybe not afternoon wherever you are, but it's like 5 a.m. here in Bali, which is where I am at the moment. And it's so nice to be here with all listening to my presentation. I'm really excited to get to know all of you and to tell you a bit about my story. So I'm going to start sharing my presentation.
Hi, Chantal. Welcome back. Cool, we can see.
Okay, can you see my my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, this is it's not the first slide. Here we go. Okay. So the topic that I'm going to be presenting on today is discovering your authentic power through your career, which is something that is so close to my heart. And I'm really excited to have this opportunity to talk about it to all of you. So I hope that you're feeling energized. I hope that you've left whatever worries that have been on your mind at the door, and you're coming in here with full presence and the willingness to just have a different perspective. As I said, my name is Ashleigh, and I'm a transformational career coach for professionals and new entrepreneurs. And once upon a time, I was an ambitious student who then became a doctor, who then realized that no matter what I did, the deeper I went into the medical profession, the more it felt like I was living somebody else's life. And I felt that way for a long time, more than eight years, before I decided to actually do something about it. But I will get a little bit more into that later. The point is that even though we are all here together, we're each on a unique journey. And this talk is about the importance of connecting to your own journey and how that is what's going to maximize your business as a personal brand more than anything else. It's incredible to be able to seek support from others, to get the guidance of coaches, of consultants. But at the end of the day, it means very little if you're not tapping into your own experience and your own zone of genius. So having said that, let us get started. So how many languages do you need to know to communicate with your audience? And I'd love if you could just put in the chat what your answer to that would be. Or you could raise your hand. There's few enough of us here so that we could just have a chat about it. Body language is, Natalie says body language. I like that. I love that. And it touches on something that I'm going to talk more about later. It's really true in a lot of ways, especially if you're a coach like I am. Body language is essential. And that's why, you know, in-person coaching and at least coaching with video is really powerful. Let me see what else is in the chat. Okay, Chantal says a number of languages, bodies spoken, etc. Okay, I like the I love the like broad view you've taken, like not just thinking of languages, it's like English, Afrikaans, French. And then Nontando says one, and that is authenticity, of course. Well, you can see what I'm getting at with my question. Nice one, Nontando, thank you. Okay, so yes, just one, that's the answer. That's your own language. So we know, yes, you know, if you're an English speaker, it's quite convenient if you speak English and you've got lots of English clients and you don't have to worry about a language barrier between you. And then in marketing, we know that you're often taught to speak in the language of your ideal client. So when you're speaking to their pain points, their goals, their dreams, you need to use their language. But the underlying message, the story, the purpose, the vision, those are unique to you. And that's the expression of your authenticity. It's why clients will be drawn to your message and your vision above somebody else with a similar offer. Maybe a similar offer to you, maybe the deliverables are the same, but they have a different message and the resonance is different. Sorry, there are scooters going past here, so it is a bit noisy. Yes, so what is the language you use when you tell your story? And by that, I don't just mean the words. So Natalie, you touched on it a bit like with body language as well. That is really important. And the words, do they convey openness, honesty, gratitude, vulnerability? Do they speak not just to what you do, but to who you are? And those are the kinds of things that you need to be asking yourself when you are communicating with potential clients or established clients. Okay. So what does authentic power mean? The term authentic power is most widely accredited to Gary Zukav, who is the author of a book called The Seat of the Soul. Are any of you familiar with the book? So Gary Zukav, he's appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show a whopping 36 times. And anybody who is so highly sought after by Oprah, I know that I'm going to need to read their work. So she believes very strongly in his message, and having listened to the audio version of his book, I honestly agree. The Seat of the Soul is an amazing book for anybody who's looking for teaching that takes a secular, universal approach to spirituality, something that is quite practical that you can incorporate into your own life. And it's really a fantastic place to start. But to reduce authentic power to its simplest definition, what authentic power means is when your personality acts in alignment with your soul. So whatever you're doing on the outside reflects what is on the inside. And if you really think about it, even if you've never referred to it as authentic power, which you probably didn't, this is very likely what moved you in the direction of entrepreneurship in the first place. The sense that you were capable of more and that a traditional workplace structure wasn't going to allow you to be authentically and fully expressed in the way that you want to be and that you know you can be, and to grow into that fully evolved version of yourself that is your birthright. So that sounds powerful, doesn't it? But maybe also a little bit confusing. So let's make it a bit more tangible. So these are some of the signs that could alert you to the fact that maybe you aren't being authentic in your personal life. So the first one is feeling ambivalent about your plans. Like, you talk about your plans in terms of things you should do or have to do instead of things you want to do or get to do. The second one is you find yourself wanting to escape your circumstances, escape your life, which means like you're not excited to get out of bed in the morning. Most mornings you find yourself wanting to curl further into the blankets and shut out the world. Number three, you have difficulty saying no to people. You lack boundaries especially with your friends and close family members. So even when you don't really want to do something, maybe you say yes to a coffee date when you'd rather be doing something else. Maybe you allow your friends and family to give their unsolicited opinion on how you run your life, and you don't know how to separate their opinions from your own, from what is true for you. The fourth one is you feel like you're acting from a sense of duty or obligation rather than genuine interest or passion. And this one goes back to the shoulds and have tos. Like maybe you're taking on tasks that, because you feel the need to wear all the hats and maintain control. Whereas you'd be far better off outsourcing certain tasks and freeing up more time to spend in your zone of genius. And this one applies, it can apply to your personal life, but it probably belongs more on the business side, because this does happen a lot when you are a solopreneur, especially. So these are some of the things you might want to look out for. And then two more is feeling resentful when you're asked to do something, but you agree to do it anyway. So that feeling of resentment is quite a big red flag, and feeling like you don't have time and energy to do the things that you actually want to do. There should always, always be time in your life to do the things that light you up, the things that really make you happy. So when you feel like you don't have that, it's really a sign that you are not living in alignment with your truth. Okay, then signs you aren't being authentic in your business. Feeling external pressure from others to pursue the goals you've chosen. So yes, sometimes we choose a certain path, but maybe your plans change. As we get older, we evolve. You're entitled to change your mind. It's perfectly natural. But for example, as a business owner, you could feel afraid to pivot when it's necessary or when you want to. And that can be for many different reasons. Often one of them is like fear of being perceived a certain way, being perceived as flaky. People, especially like in a traditional society, we're taught that, it's bad to have gaps in your CV. It's bad to jump around between ideas, but sometimes you need to make room for the opportunity to change and change the direction of your business when it's not working. Next one is feeling constrained to follow a business idea because it's lucrative rather than being an idea that you genuinely love. So this is hard because, yes, we all want to live a good life. We want to be financially comfortable. But when you pursue an idea more for the money than for it being something that you're genuinely passionate about, it's hard to sustain yourself within that business. Third one is undercharging and over-delivering. So it can feel good to go above and beyond the call of duty for your clients, and you want to make your service accessible to as many people as possible. You're trying to create an impact and genuinely help people, but you also don't do people a service by undercharging them and undervaluing your service. So in the end, that can result in feelings of resentment again towards your work or even your clients. Then feeling like your work isn't a true reflection of who you are and not knowing how to change that. So maybe the work you do is fine, even good. Maybe your clients are happy, but yet you still feel like something is missing and you're kind of dissatisfied. You know, things could be better, but you just can't quite put your finger on how, or you don't know how to implement that change to do work that resonates more with you. So why does your authentic power matter? So if you, like me, believe that everyone on this earth is here to have a unique experience, then you also believe probably that we each have a unique purpose, which is why you were born with intuition and an innate creativity in order to guide you to your unique purpose. And that purpose is not static, but it keeps evolving with you. And if it grows and evolves with you, then you want your business to do the same. That's the natural way of your evolution. And especially when you are a personal brand, it only makes sense to try to bring the two together, so that as you grow, your business is growing. And as your business grows, you are learning more and evolving. And this is what is something that will draw clients to you as well. Okay. So why am I talking about this stuff? Why do I think it's so important? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. So the year was 2015. I had just graduated medical school and I was about to start my career as a newly minted doctor, except I already had a taste for the work from 4 years of working in the hospital as a student. And I already knew that I didn't love it. I felt I had sold out on my true passion of studying English literature, but by then it felt too late. I had a degree and I felt like I needed to start working if I wanted to be financially independent, which I really did. And the paycheck of a doctor is a hard thing to say no to in favor of starting again and studying something new. So that's exactly what I did. I went to work as a medical intern, but inside I knew something was deeply wrong. So, but I couldn't help it. I wanted more from life. And when I started working, I immediately started saving money and I booked my first solo trip to Vietnam. And that experience opened my eyes to what was possible. And I couldn't believe I only had 2 weeks to go until I would have to go back to work and then repeat the same cycle, wait another year before I'd be able to travel again. It seemed unbearable to me, considering how I felt about my job. But I continued working, eventually saving up enough money to take a full year off. And I traveled for 8 months straight, backpacking through Southeast Asia, Russia, and the Middle East. And those 8 months of solo backpacking, you know, if the trip to Vietnam opened my world, those 8 months were completely life-changing. To be able to see so much of the world, and I couldn't imagine going back to the routine of salaried employment. It seemed completely unimaginable to me. My love for freedom and travel only deepened until I realized this wasn't just a passion. It stemmed from a core part of my values. And as much as I knew that I wanted my life to take a different direction, even so, it would be another 3 years before I sourced the courage to actually do something about it. So this was me as a student. I was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, back then, I thought I would become an anesthesiologist because I enjoyed anesthetics. I enjoyed the controlled environment and the sophisticated science of it. I thought that would become my future in medicine. It seemed a good fit in most ways, but again, I couldn't help feeling stifled, pigeonholed by the linear path that awaited me, where everything was decided and most of my life would be played out in hospitals with no room for the creative work that I so badly craved. So reality started to set in. So on the left, that is a picture of me. That's who I was on the outside, still trying to force myself into a place within the medical fraternity. And that was taken on the day I graduated with my diploma in anesthetics. On that same day, so many people were asking me, when was I going to complete my residency to specialize as an anesthesiologist? And on the inside, I felt like the girl on the right. Just lost, frustrated, and burnt out. And something inside of me just kept saying, you need to leave. This is not right for you. A job that makes you feel imprisoned can't possibly be the right choice for you. So I identified my 3 core values, and that's freedom, creativity, and connection. So connection is one of the aspects of medicine, of working with people, that I just loved, and I knew I would have to keep that in my whatever future career I decided to go into. So once I identified those core values, I knew what had to happen next. I had to start embodying those values in my work and in my life. I had to learn how to design the life of my dreams, but doing it on my own would take too long and perhaps be less effective. So I hired my first business coach and joined my first coaching program. Hey. Amazing experience, amazing life choice, and I would not go back for anything. So this became my new reality, being creative. Oh, can you still see my presentation?
Okay, we can see a white slide.
Okay. And now?
Yes, we can. We can see.
Good. No, I just need to. Okay, I've lost my notes, but it's fine. Okay, so this became my new reality. Being creative, living a life of freedom, working directly with amazing women, creating an impact in their lives, working from beautiful locations, spending more time in nature, looking after my physical and mental health. And these were things that were these were all of the things that I felt were missing when I was a doctor. You know, I felt so unhealthy and unable to look after myself, unable to really live, you know, except apart from just surviving, you know, paycheck to paycheck and living for the weekends. Sorry, ladies, I've just lost my presenter view.
We can see the slide, but it's a bit blurry.
Yeah. We'll get there. Somehow we'll get there. Oh, no, it keeps like switching.
You can maybe just stop presenting and presenting again from scratch.
Okay, no, I've got it now. Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay. So for the first time, I felt like I was directing my career from a place of true alignment. And I thought, this must be what real authenticity feels like. It felt like coming home to the truth that existed inside of me all along. Only because of my social conditioning, I didn't recognize it for a long time. And I'd be lying if I said I had no fears or doubts, but for once, I could distinguish between the two parts of me. So that's my lower self and my higher self. And this was made possible through coaching. For the first time, I made a promise that I would always take the side of my higher self, the one who really knows what's up, what I'm capable of, the part of me that is connected to a greater purpose. And this was a major mindset shift, one of the biggest mindset shifts of my life. So the lower self versus the higher self. Like, how many of you are familiar with this concept? What's in the chat? Let's see. Okay, I don't want to get too distracted by the chat, but I will have a look there later at your messages. Okay, so the lower self it can be likened to your ego mind. The lizard brain, it's fear-based. It's got its place in trying to keep you safe, but you have to outgrow it in order to really evolve and become the highest version of yourself. It's always going to be there, and it's not the enemy. There is a book that's titled "The Ego is the Enemy," but it's not really the enemy. It's more helpful to think of it as a different side of your mind that is often not that useful. It gets used in this kind of maladaptive way. And it is always going to be there, but as an entrepreneur, you should learn to recognize it for what it is and not allow it to take over your actions and decision making. And once you learn to do that, that's when you really get to evolve and become the great entrepreneur that you want to be. So what are some characteristics of the lower self? The lower self is insecure, it's fearful, jealous. It judges itself harshly as well as others. It likes to compare. It has a scarcity mindset. So it always thinks there's not enough. And if I have, then that means you can't have. There's not enough for all of us. It blames others or external factors for its circumstances. And it acts like a victim. Versus the higher self, which is the part of you that is able to take fearless action or messy action. Let's say, maybe not fearless, because there maybe is still some fear there, but you can surpass that fear at least. It's the part of you that is able to show yourself and others unconditional acceptance. It has an abundance mindset, so it knows that there is enough for everybody. There's enough for you, there's enough for me. We can be wealthy, we can be successful, and my success doesn't have to mean somebody else's failure. In fact, the more success I have, the more I can help others to succeed as well. And their success, it inspires me to likewise succeed. So the higher self takes full ownership and responsibility for its role in whatever situation or circumstance. And the higher self trusts, it takes a leadership stance, and it trusts in things like divine time instead of acting like a victim of circumstance. So, for example, let's say you sign up for a new business course. So are you doing this from a place of fear, feeling desperate to get clients, hoping this is going to solve your problem? Yeah. Do you maybe not share the values of the course instructors, but they're selling you a quick fix, and that's tempting? Are you hoping to not have to do much of the work yourself? Are you blaming your lack of results on previous courses or programs that you signed up for? Or are you making this decision from a place of empowerment? Have you taken a look at your current processes and know what you need to focus on? Do your values align with those of the people who are giving the course? Are you coming from a place of service and taking ownership for the part you play in getting results for your business and your clients? So look at how two very different mindsets can lead to the same decision. But because of the different energy and intention behind them, they will likely lead to very different results. So on the left side, that will likely lead to disappointment, to more of the same, scarcity and lack that initiated this decision, and a feeling like you're not getting a return on your investment for this course that you've invested in. While on the right side, it will lead to more abundance, more authenticity, and freedom in your business, because you've come from a place of already having an abundance mindset and from a place of being empowered. So why should you use your career to discover your authentic power? The first answer is most obvious, because it's something that you spend so much of your time doing. It would be hard to live in integrity when so much of your time is spent out of alignment with who you are. Even if what you're doing right now isn't your absolute dream business or career, it should at least align with most of your core values. So a lot of the suffering that comes in a job or in your business comes when you feel that you're doing work that is not aligned with your values. That is a big thing. So alignment results in clarity of purpose. It results in a robust and meaningful vision. And that's when you are seen as a magnetic leader. And you get an audience that trusts you and will invest in you because they resonate with your why. And your why is so central to everything that you are doing in your business. Authenticity is what keeps you growing. The more you stay true to your nature, the more motivated you are to keep learning. So at least whatever you choose to do should genuinely interest you in some way, and it shouldn't go against your core values. So what does it mean to be in integrity? So I'm not talking about moral integrity. And what I mean here is being at one with your deepest, truest self, and it is the antidote to suffering. So this comes from a book called The Way of Integrity by Martha Beck. If you're interested in living a life of integrity, it's an amazing book. Highly recommend it. And the word integrity comes from the Latin integer, which means to be whole or complete. So when I talk about integrity, what I really mean is like, are you living as one complete person, or are you kind of split between what you're actually doing in your life and what you are secretly wanting to do, but it's not actually playing out in your life and in your business? So signs that you are living out of integrity. The dark wood of error syndrome. This is how she describes it in the book. And she likens it to, if you know The Divine Comedy by Dante, you don't need to know the book in order to be able to understand the concept, but she does like kind of, she uses the book and parallels, our journey to integrity with Dante's journey through hell, and then purgatory, and then paradise, which is heaven. So the dark wood of area is a synonym for that period in our life when we seem to be going through a fog, or our purpose seems unclear and we can't see the point of our suffering, nor does the path out seem obvious. Often we are still offering up some resistance at this point, trying harder to be more of what we are not. So that is like, for example, me when I was still trying to fit myself into this role of an anesthetist. I'm trying harder, but I can just see that it's not working. And some signs of being in this phase are feeling lost, feeling emotionally miserable, a physical deterioration, so physical symptoms, consistent relationship failures, consistent career failures, and bad habits that you just can't seem to break. And I don't know if anybody watches Schitt's Creek, but it's one of my favorite series ever. I just love Moira Rose, and I just thought of her when I thought, of this dark wood of area syndrome. The whole family is kind of going through that in Schitt's Creek, but she just personifies it so beautifully. So yeah, if there's any fellow Schitt's Creek watchers, you can raise your hand. Fangirl. Love Moira. Okay, so does integrity in your personal life affect your business or career? So this is a contentious one, I'm sure. I'm sure that opinions are divided. And there certainly are some people who try to separate the two. But I believe that as a personal brand, and certainly for you ladies who are listening, I imagine that you want your business to be an expression and extension of who you are. As a personal brand where your face is what's presented to the world as the face of your business, and the embodiment of your core values is everything. They will be drawn more to what you embody than to what you say. And this is because people follow somebody in integrity. It's because it's mesmerizing to people. By being in integrity yourself, you're giving others permission to do the same. Some people can get triggered by it. They may start saying nasty, judgmental things about you, but those are then obviously not your people. The right people will feel like you're speaking to their hearts, and they'll feel invited to be as brave as you are being. What is embodied leadership? So embodied leadership is when your actions consistently reflect your values and devotion to your vision. Even when you're under pressure, you don't forget your why and what you stand for. When you manage to stay embodied, even under difficult circumstances, you are a true example of leadership to your team and clients. This is not the same as pretending everything's okay and not asking for help when you need it, because that would also not be authentic. It just means continuing to take aligned action in your business, even when it's hard, and especially when it's hard. Again, this is what will magnetize clients to you. It serves as the foundation of trust in your business. And it's the difference between having a team who really works for a paycheck versus a team who is actually on board with your mission and will spread that mission for you because they believe in your vision. Embodiment is a step more advanced than mindfulness. It adds to mindfulness what is so desperately needed in these modern times of us tending to live too much in our heads and overthinking things. It adds the element of dropping into the body. Yeah, see Jane nodding. Okay. Why is it a bad thing to live too much in the mind? Because some people really don't believe that it is. We taught to glorify our minds that set us apart from, the other beasts. the mind is a wonderful tool, but it is still just that, it's a tool. Filtering everything through a mental lens can make it difficult to connect to others and to yourself. The body in its totality is a powerful machine. It's a more powerful machine than the mind alone. And being too much in the mind can lead to phenomena like anxiety, overly indulging in escapism, and analysis paralysis, which we all know what that is. And as an entrepreneur, especially, I'm sure you've been in that situation of analysis paralysis where you're just overthinking the entire situation. You have so many options, and it's really hard to decide which one to choose. And you're afraid of making the wrong decision, especially the wrong decision. So the mind sabotages us by amplifying perceived danger, causes us to avoid taking action that would allow us to grow, while the body is much better at alerting you to actual danger and to alerting you what you actually need. The mind lives in the past and the future, while the body lives in the here and now. So it's a lot more trustworthy than the mind, in other words. Using embodiment practices to strengthen your leadership. So how many of you do embodiment practices? By a show of hands. Any of you? Okay. Maybe you do and you just don't call it that way. No. So what is an embodiment practice? It's a technique of using the unique sensations of your body to develop self-awareness, self-acceptance, to feel connected to yourself, to others, and to your environment, to find balance, to self-regulate, and to be empowered within your own skin. So some examples of embodiment practices are things like breath work, yoga and meditation, dance, and then a felt senses inventory or a feelings and needs checklist. That's the other way it's referred to sometimes. So for example, I do breath work multiple times a day, and especially before client sessions. I do yoga 2 to 3 times per week and meditation every morning. I put on music and dance before sessions with clients. And I try to do a feelings and needs inventory daily. Feelings and needs inventory is almost like a meditation, except it's more of a body scan, scanning through your body, noticing for areas of tightness, tension, pain. And once you've done that, you identify what it is that you're feeling and what you need on a given day. So it's a beautiful practice. It's learning to translate your bodily experience into words and figuring out what your body is telling you about how to best care for yourself. And that is, in my view, an essential part of being a leader and, you know, a good entrepreneur. It sets you apart from people who don't do this kind of thing, is having that in-depth understanding of yourself and what you need. Okay, some adjunctive practices to embodiment. So journaling, different types of journaling. Release writing is when you write through an intense emotion or frustration. So it's like transferring your anger or frustration or whatever emotion it is onto a page. It's usually written to throw away. It's not like your usual journaling. And it works best when you set a timer and approach it as a free writing exercise, and you just get whatever comes to your mind onto paper. A vision statement is more of a kind of manifestation technique where you write a letter to yourself dated a year in the future, stating all of the goals and dreams you had that came true. And you use beautiful descriptive detail. And that is a journaling exercise that gives tangibility to your future vision. Embodied writing is where you do breath work and then embodying visualization prior to journaling. So you can keep it as somatic as possible by writing about any bodily sensations that come up for you. Then spending time in nature. This is one I love. Grounding your feet into the earth, breathing the fresh air into your lungs, going for a swim in the sea or in a lake. Just being in nature is a really beautiful way to get embodied and to get in touch with your body. Taking yourself on a date. Ooh, yeah, love that. This is a picture from last weekend. I went to a place here in Ubud. You know, Ubud is all about the raw vegan food. And this is a really cute little restaurant that does completely raw vegan. No, for South Africans like us, it's like a foreign concept. What? No meat. Yeah, I'm actually getting a little bit used to a vegan diet, although I haven't gone fully vegan, but this is vegan sushi. It was delicious. And this is just to show you, like, it's so special to take yourself out. You know, we often think about dating in terms of playing with a partner and it being romantic, but you can be so romantic with yourself, honestly. No distractions, nobody tagging along. It's just you following whatever your heart desires, doing exactly what you want, going on a hike, taking a sunset walk on the beach, going to your favorite art gallery, or taking yourself out for dinner, doing something artistic like some writing or painting, buying yourself some flowers. This, you know, is absolutely key. Like, yes, it's nice to go on dates like with boyfriends and husbands, but you need to be able to take yourself on a date as a business owner. So the point is, it's a totally self-affirming experience to just enjoy the pleasure of your own company and realize that intimacy isn't only about romantic partnerships. The intimacy that you have with yourself is so important. When you learn to not only to look after yourself, but meet your desires in this empowering way, it spills over into your business, you know. Like, and just because you're single, it doesn't mean that you need to sit in front of the TV and have dinner every night. It's fine on some nights, but you can take yourself on a date. You should. So tapping into these exercises and embodied leadership enables you to develop your intuition so you can make better decisions in your business, be grounded in your feminine energy so you can release the need to control each and every outcome and actually enjoy your business, because we didn't just start businesses to be stressed and working all the time. We started businesses so we can enjoy our lives and enjoy working on our businesses, not in our businesses. It enables you to be grounded in your sense of self-worth so that you can charge higher prices and say no to clients who don't align with your values. So a lack of self-worth is really at the root of perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and try to effort your way into worthiness. It's also the reason why so many new entrepreneurs say yes to clients they would rather not work with. And it's understandable, you know, like when you're new, you want to get experience. Sometimes you say yes to clients like you don't really give you a good feeling or aren't completely on board with your way of doing things. And this is something that I have struggled with myself, and I can tell you from experience, like I'm sure you know the difference between signing on somebody who really vibes with you versus signing on a client who you can tell from the beginning it's going to be an uphill battle. You are not seeing eye to eye. Yes, so you invite the kind of clients who see you the way that you see yourself. So you need to, you know, you continue you need to begin as you mean to continue when it comes to signing on clients. So it also enables you to know your purpose and vision on a deeper level and understand that you get to grow in a symbiotic relationship with your business. So that's like what I said earlier about, as you grow, you feed that growth into your business. Your personal growth feeds into your business, and the growth of your business causes you to also need to grow more. So you're feeding off each other all the time. Sounds weird, but it's really a good thing. So I love this quote by Cheryl Strayed. It says, "Don't surrender all your joy for an idea you used to have about yourself that isn't true anymore." And that's just a reminder that, like, sometimes living authentically means that you have to let go of old ideas that you used to have about yourself that are now limiting you, maybe.